Today's episode of Lions of Liberty contains a little bit of adult language and a whole lot of fun. So hide the kids, grab yourself a drink, and enjoy the show.
Welcome to the Lions of Liberty podcast. Here is your host, your guide, your shining beacon of liberty, Marc Clair.
Welcome back, my Liberty Lions, to another edition of the Lions of Liberty podcast. And boy, do I have a fun show for you here today in the 269th episode of this program. And I'd like to encourage you to check out the show notes page over at lionsofliberty.com/269. And you may actually need it to follow along in this one because it's going to be a pretty interesting show. Before I get into that, I want to quickly tell you about a couple other great libertarian podcasts out there. And if you're a fan of this show, there's a good chance you're going to enjoy the work that Johnny Adams, Heather Nixon, and Kurt Nelson are doing over at the Johnny Rocket Launchpad. We've also got our friends Chris Spangle, Greg Lenz, and a cast of others over at We Are Libertarians. And finally, lastly, but certainly not leastly, my man Roger Paxton, who does a killer job with the Lava Flow podcast. If you enjoy this show, these are programs you've got to check out. Welcome, my Liberty Lions, to, as I mentioned, a very special edition of the Lions of Liberty podcast, an experimental edition, you might say, because today we are going to partake in the first ever, as far as I know, Liberty Draft. That's right. This is the 2020 Liberty Draft, and I'm going to explain to you all just what that is after I first bring in some of my fellow Lions of Liberty here who are going to participate. So first off, I've got my man, the host of the weekly Felony Friday podcast from Pittsburgh, PA, fellow Lions of Liberty co-founder, John Odermatt. Odie, what's up?
Yo, yo, yo. What's up?
I thought you were going to start calling me a Crazy Cats. I thought that was going to be your new thing.
That got old. That got old real fast.
But it got old the first time?
We got some bad feedback from that. I don't know if you saw that.
You didn't tell me about that feedback. Who is sending bad feedback about cats? Come on.
I try to keep you away from the bad feedback we get when people say things bad about cats and things like that. You know.
Okay, that's probably for the best, for my sanity. We're also going to bring in our esteemed legal counsel, Mr. Rico from Cleveland.
Well, hello, my friends.
How are things?
Things are going.
Are you pumped up for the draft? How have you been preparing?
I'm drinking a Phoenix craft beer.
I totally skipped over asking Odie if he was even having a good day, let alone what he was drinking, but I'll talk to you enough.
Let me interject before
you just criticize me. You just criticize me.
Rico is never going to be excited for any draft because he's a Cleveland, and Cleveland never drafts shit, ever. Always terrible. He's drafting Brandon Whedon first round.
Welcome, Brian McWilliams.
Hacked into my computer.
Yeah, that's right. I'm pumped up for this, baby.
Spoiler alert.
I'm booing every draft pick. Everybody's draft pick's getting booed. I brought people to boo my draft pick.
Oh, God. I totally forgot about the trolling aspects that Brian was likely to bring to this.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Anyway, yes, the host of Mr. Johnson's Liberty Hood, Mr. Brian McWilliams, is here.
Hey, everybody.
The former host.
Cue applause.
Former host. That's right.
The show was canceled.
If you're nice to me, I'll edit in some applause there.
With his horrible, horrible presidential campaign.
Oh, come on now. I thought we were going to be done with Gary now. That's actually, okay, that's the biggest question, and I still got to explain what this is, and I'll do that in a second. But to me, the biggest question of the draft, will anyone draft Gary Johnson?
Spoiler alert.
That's like a topic to watch out for. So let me explain now exactly what this is. Now, for fantasy football fans out there, or people that just watch sports, know what the sports drafts are like, this is sort of meant to be like that. Basically, what we're doing is we're each going to draft what's essentially a Liberty propaganda team for 2020. And we're going to have 6 different positions we're going to have to fill. This is, yes, just a hypothetical, obvious exercise. We're not drafting any of these people into actual enslavement to work for us, as fun as that sounds. But we are drafting a hypothetical Liberty propaganda team, and we're putting them in certain roles where we would like to see them potentially, advocating the ideas of liberty. And we're each going to basically build our own squad. And then afterwards, we're going to record a separate show, maybe in a week or two after we have time to huddle with our team and decide exactly what roles everyone's going to be placed in. Because as you'll see as we go, a lot of people that you can draft could actually fill different roles. Now, I'm going to use an example here just to give you an idea. This example is actually somebody who I've taken off the board as part of this exercise because I just felt it was too easy of a draft pick and not a realistic one because this man is retired. I am, of course, talking about Dr. Ron Paul. And yes, he still does have a podcast. He still does videos, but I just felt it was best to take the obvious number one pick out of this equation for the interest of the exercise. So he's off the draft board. Ron Paul is gone. So I'll just use him as an example. If you drafted Ron Paul, at the end of this day, you could put him in your position of libertarian presidential candidate. That's one of the spots we got to fill. You can make him your mainstream TV host. That's another spot. You could give Ron Paul an hour-long nightly show on Fox News. So there are many possibilities with every single person that could potentially be drafted here. So, and how this is basically going to work, let me just read out the positions here. Every team is basically going to consist of 6 positions: a libertarian presidential candidate, a libertarian vice presidential candidate, a libertarian podcast host, and I do have to add a caveat here. All of us on this show are disqualified. We are also off the draft board because obviously we'd all just draft ourselves number 1, right? Brian would, anyway.
Without a doubt.
Obviously. Mainstream TV host male, and also a mainstream TV host female. So you got to have at least one woman here, misogynists out there. And then also our last position is a YouTube star, someone who's going to it could be someone who's already hit it big on YouTube, or it could someone we just think should be big on YouTube. You know, not everyone needs to be in their exact roles. However, we do want to have some kind of aspect of reality to this. So I'll use the example of Rand Paul. I consider Rand Paul undraftable in this exercise because he is a Republican senator. He's going to be a Republican senator through 2020. He's not going to leave that position to host a libertarian podcast or do any of these things that we're recruiting people for. So we have to be realistic. You don't have to put people in the positions that they're in right now. As I said, you can use a politician and give him a mainstream talk show. That's fine, but it has to be within the realm of possibility. And I think we're all pretty reasonable, and we'll hopefully can come to a consensus on what that is. What do you guys think?
Sounds like a plan, Stan.
All right, well, I can tell everyone's excited. Before we start, I put everyone to sleep with these rules, so maybe we should just get into things.
What are we talking about again?
We didn't even get into what we were drinking. I made a nice ginger beverage because it's the holidays, and ginger's kind of a holiday
You actually cut me off
thing.
before I went backwards and asked Odie what he was drinking. This thing's all out of order. So what are both of you guys drinking?
I'm drinking a Sweetwater 420, as I normally always drink, except when I'm drinking something fruity.
All right, there you go. That's our cold open.
Goes along with your other cold open that we might not air.
Behind the scenes. Behind the
You'll
scenes.
never hear. Nobody
That's for the bloopers reel. And yeah,
Ryan.
I'm drinking ginger beer and rum. Delicious.
Ooh, dark and stormy.
Wow, what a
Still dark and stormy,
concoction.
exactly.
All right, and I'm drinking a Modelo. Getting back to my Mexican roots.
Did you leave it in the bathroom this time?
I always leave my beer in the bathroom for a solid hour before I drink it. I find it really helps with the, I don't know. God.
Well, you can leave it chilling in the toilet tank as a secret beer. Tip to the alcoholics out there.
Oh, not bad. You got that from Bill Weld. From your
You
months,
know,
your
I
months covering
get
the campaign
everything
of Bill Weld.
He has a weekly newsletter called Where to Hide Your Alcohol that I subscribe to.
Oh, boy. All right, folks. And before we get started, we're going to reveal right now the draft order and your team names as well. Now, the draft order was supposedly determined by random.org. We're going to trust that that's true. And, we're not going to cast any doubt of suspicion whatsoever. But that draft order begins with Mr. Brian McWilliams, who had nothing to do with that random.org assignment, I believe, right?
No, nothing to do with it. This is, wow, it's a lot of pressure. I'd like to thank Roger Goodell for all his hard work that he's put in on this draft.
I don't recall that the draft pick in sports traditionally being an esteemed honor. It's usually because you were the worst. Did you do the worst in the Liberty League last year? Is that what this was?
I think I probably did the worst at reading all the Liberty books.
I definitely agree with that.
Sure that I am a libertarian through osmosis, not necessarily through the book learning, as they say. But I do read occasionally on the turlet. I'm reading economics in one lesson right now on the old Toity Bowl.
While you're hiding
And
your
it's
beers
great.
in the bathtub.
Love it. Exactly. Getting hammered on my beers. I reach back. I get my gun like in The Godfather. I got my beer in the other hand. I'm prepared for anything with my toilet tank. It's amazing. I'm an amazing person with amazing tactics. First tactic being who I'm going to pick. And I'm going to come out strong here.
Hold on. You're not picking yet. We're not there yet. We're just
what? I thought you said I'm up for first draft pick.
We're just introducing every team, and we haven't even introduced the team names yet. Come on.
Shouldn't people know this already? Hasn't there been analysis going on for months?
Didn't you read the script? So just give us your team name real quick. I'm sure it's
the Trumpelstiltskins.
The Trumpelstiltskins. All right. Brian is up with the Trumpelstiltskins. I'm not going to do a speech accepting my draft order number. I'm just going to tell you that I'm number 2. And my team name is based on a recent amazing skit from Saturday Night Live with Tom Hanks. My team name is Liberty S. Pumpkins. Which some percentage of our audience will get and think is hilarious, and the other larger percentage will not have any clue what it means, and I'm fine with that. So
some percentage of the people on this show won't get it either. So
we know you didn't watch it because you don't watch television ever, and I don't watch television ever, and even I have to watch television more than you. Yeah. Speaking of you, you're up next.
Yeah, I'm up third, and my team name, I actually sold my team name, the sponsorship for it, to myself. So I've decided to name it "Make Liberty Great Again."
Brilliant.
Ooh.
I sold out.
Oh, the boo birds are here already. All right, and lastly, and possibly leastly, we've got Rico. What's your team name, pal?
Well, definitely leastly, because my team name is TBD. I didn't have time to think of a clever name. I was too busy preparing for a podcast before this one that we never did. So I've been a busy man.
All right.
So I'm already angry.
So much.
It's all falling apart on me.
You guys are getting so much behind the scenes action here.
This is what happens with the Cleveland Browns. They get upset before a draft, and then they screw it up. You can't let it happen to you, Rico.
You know what? I think the
my
Cleveland
team to
Browns
Baltimore.
also they fall into that TBD category, and they're eventually like, our first game's tomorrow. What the fuck are we going to call ourselves? They're like, how about the Browns?
Hey, there's a color.
We'll make our helmet orange. Because that makes sense.
Guys, we don't have money for paint. What do we want to make it? How about orange? Great.
Why is their helmet orange? I've never understood this. I know that brown is not based on the color. It's based on a human's last name. But why is orange involved? I still don't understand.
I don't know. They named
favorite color?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is there a lot of orange in Cleveland?
Maybe it's like the color of rust after a certain number of years.
I don't think there are any colors actually in Cleveland.
I think I read that actually the real story is that Cleveland had no money at the time, so they actually were carved out pumpkins for several games, and then they just stuck with that.
I'm David.
Yeah, let's go with that one.
There you go. There you go. Rico's Team Pumpkinhead. Done.
All right. And without further ado, I'm still going to call you TBD. I like that better. It is time to start the first ever, as far as I know. Maybe someone else has done this. If so, my mind would be blown. The first ever 2020 Liberty Draft.
Trumpelstiltskins, you're on the clock.
All right. Well, no point in dilly-dallying. So let's go out firing. It's going to be a shocker to some, but I'm going to take John Stossel with my first pick.
Oh, okay.
Yes, TV commentator John Stossel. Fantastic man at espousing the ideas of liberty. Clearly does not get rattled easily, knows his libertarianism quite well, and learned it more even than most of the presidential candidates this year, some would argue.
All right. Not bad. Not bad. That did come out of left field.
Quite a shocker, though.
It's not when you think about it. It shouldn't be. He's been
I didn't fall out of my chair.
Like you can afford a chair.
But he's not known as a leader of the liberty movement per se. I wouldn't think he's obviously one of the most. He's visual. He's in the media. People know him. He has the name recognition, but
he's taken seriously by like my dad. I think that's a big thing that we got to think about when building a team like this. We want to build a team that's not just going to be talking to people on the internet. We want a team that's really going to be able to advance liberty in many different ways. So you can definitely
engage the mainstream.
There you
that's
go.
Right.
So there's definitely a strong argument for John Stossel there. So not the direction I thought you'd go, but all right.
Did John Stossel get punched out by someone once, like 20 years ago?
I'm sure he has.
Hasn't everybody at some point been
He's not
punched
the
out?
one-
Like
wait.
on the air.
Who did Hulk Hogan choke out? That wasn't John Stossel, was it? You guys remember that?
I think it was Jesse Ventura that punched out John Stossel. Yeah.
Are you confusing John Stossel with Andy Kaufman?
No,
And,
I think Jerry Lawler actually punched him out. Both of them out.
Tune in for our next podcast, the history of wrestlers punching out talk show hosts. But not
We're
necessarily
hitting on all
in
the
order.
high notes.
You're thinking of Geraldo. Geraldo got punched out.
You're right,
by
and I
some-
think that's who Hulk Hogan
was Geraldo.
choked out too.
Yeah.
Geraldo
We've
took
hit-
a lot of flack.
So far, we've hit on the history of the Cleveland Browns and the history of wrestlers punching out TV
We're right
hosts.
on point today. This is great stuff. Well, we got to fill time, but I am actually on the clock here. This is a tough choice. I thought Brian might make my choice easier, but he actually made it more difficult. But I do have to go ahead and take what's probably an obvious pick for many, but I'm going to take Tom Woods with my number one draft.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, wow.
Figured that one. That was going to be the obvious one. That's why I said Stossel's a shocker.
Ooh, someone's quick in this document here. Someone already got my pick in there. Almost
You're
faster
welcome.
I think it was there before I said it. Someone's reading my mind.
Whoever just typed that just made themselves the official keeper of the draft.
Oh yeah, now you
So
got to
you
do
can
it the
just
whole
continue
time.
to punch in every name.
We should
I-
really have an online accompaniment to this podcast so people can watch us fill in this very exciting Google shared document draft board.
I did not know you could create these things where other people could access them at the same time. This is
Pretty
amazing.
Cool. Pretty cool.
Well, you know what?
That's amazing.
If our lawyer friend didn't know you could create Google documents and share them, I got to think some of the rest of our audience probably didn't know that either. So hey, we're helping people learn in so many different ways. I like
You got to
that.
remember, lawyers are the people that keep those huge cardboard boxes of files and just carry them around everywhere with them. Have
That's what
garages
those
full
cute
of
little
them.
duffel bag carts they have.
Those
All
are
right,
the
Odie, you're on the
old-
clock.
On the
Hey,
clock.
He's
So
he's
this
got another
pick-
minute 20 if he wants. I'm just saying.
I don't need the clock, whatever. I know my pick. And this pick might be surprising to some people, but I don't think anyone on this show is going to be surprised by it. I think going into next year, he could be a favorite for, not next year, into the next election in 2020. Could be a favorite for the Libertarian presidential nomination. We'll see. I'm going with Mr. Larry Sharp.
Larry Sharp.
Ah.
All right. An early pick for Larry Sharp.
Yeah. He's got a lot of
So you
potential.
calling that a
I mean,
reach mark? Are you saying
I like
no
the guy. I
distinction
think
for Larry
he's
Sharp?
a likable guy that is very good at communicating the message of liberty.
If I were to put my Mel Kiper hat on, I'd say, what a shocking pick. John Odermatt, and this is not a Mel Kiper impression. He doesn't sound like this, but what a shocking pick. John Odermatt went at least a round or two above Larry Sharp's projection in this draft, but he's got a lot of potential. He's got a great wingspan, and I love the pick.
I'm just picturing video of Larry Sharp playing football while you're talking. I don't even know what that would look like.
A
But
lot of upside. A lot of upside for Larry Sharp.
Is that because you can picture like a political ad of him playing football and just like looking like he should be presidential? Is that the
no,
point?
because you're being Mel Kiper whenever you're watching
Oh, okay.
drafts and
I'm
Mel
picturing-
Kiper's talking.
I'm
That's what-
picturing him playing football with his family on Thanksgiving, like a
There you
political
go.
ad. Like, look how much I love my family. I even play football with them. So many directions you could go with Larry Sharp commercials. You could have him play football with his family, have him play football in a uniform. You could really go any direction as long as it's related to football. Put him on
Did
the
we already
Browns.
say what all the positions we're drafting are? You
I did.
right?
That's
Okay, thank God.
That's the part you were sleeping through. Remember, I had to wake you guys up to get this thing going again. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Larry Sharp, the brother of Sterling Sharp and Shannon Sharp. Little known fact.
He speaks better than either of them, though.
He will
My
continue
God, who was it?
the
Who
great
was it?
Sharp
Sterling
legacy.
Sharp that you can't understand a word he was saying on the NFL? It was like
It's one of
Much
the
of
Sharps.
It's actually both of them.
I could not. It's like
You're thinking of
Shannon
Shannon Sharp for sure.
No comment.
Shannon, yeah, I was like, oh God, I'm not going to do an impression, which would just come across as very racist.
It's just
But
stat-
it
it would
could
just
not
be
understand a
static
word he
for
was
10
saying.
seconds.
No.
I'll just edit some static in, and everyone will get
Perfect.
the point. All right, Rico, you are on the clock. You got 25 seconds to go here.
All right. You guys are being way too conventional. And this is
Oh, boy.
it's time to go off the rails. It's the first round, and I'm going to ruin it already because that's what I
Yes.
do. And I'm going to ruin it by picking two people. That's right.
Well, you got back-to-back
Two-
picks. So-
Nope. I'm picking two people with my first pick because they're a tandem. They go
What?
together. What? Yes. There's no moderator to stop me. What are you going to do about it? I am taking Trey Parker and Matt Stone with my first.
Oh, damn it. That is
Wow.
a great pick, Rico.
I don't know if you can do that.
I just did. What are you going to do about it?
You can take pulling the power ranking. I think you can take them both, but I think you got to use both picks. What do you guys think?
I agree. I think you have to use both picks too.
They're two
That's
human beings.
stupid.
They're not. I thought you were going
team.
to. I thought you were
Yeah,
going
but
to
nobody
announce
ever
like,
talks. Nobody talks about them separately. I mean,
Yes,
they're
they're
basically
like-
one person. They're
they're
one
one entity.
thought process.
So are you voting yes, Odie?
I'm voting in favor of Rico taking two people.
See, now we're tied.
You know what? Fine. I'm with it. Just to make it easy, I'm with it.
I think this is a travesty of justice in my own draft that I conceived late at night.
The ginger hammer has
But,
spoken.
there's been a revolution, so I don't know if I can do anything about this at this point.
We'll have JB weigh in. That's what I thought.
Yes, our moderator experienced some traffic difficulties tonight, so
Yes.
I guess it's just going to be anarchy. This is a preview, anarchist. This is what's going to happen. You see, there's nobody to enforce the rules, and suddenly it all breaks down. You see? I'm just kidding, folks. I love all you guys. Anarchist, minarchist, let's party, baby. All right, I guess you get to take two people with one pick. It's a new rule that we just created on the fly. See, I thought you were going to announce conjoined twins. I was getting pretty excited, but that didn't happen.
Well, I was searching for libertarian conjoined twins, but
You tried. All right.
there was nothing.
If you
So
take
one
a
thing
ghost with your next pick, I'm kicking you out of this draft, but go on.
we tried that, and I think it had to be edited out in a
right.
previous time.
Right.
So I'm going to continue my shocking ways. And I don't want to be conventional at all here. So with and I don't think you explained, we're kind of doing a snake draft.
Yes,
so
I should have said that. It is a snake draft, so we do go 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1, etc.
You better not steal my sleeper pick, Rico. I'll be really pissed off.
So with the first pick in the second round, I take a well-known podcaster, but not quite as well known for being a libertarian, but he is Adam Carolla.
Okay, that is a conventional.
All right. I don't know if I'd say he's libertarian,
Well,
but
you
I mean,
don't-
hey,
okay.
that's your pick to live and die by
This
when
is
the people
also
vote.
something that I didn't fully clarify beforehand, but here is my thought process on this. You can draft any human being you want, but at the end of the day, and I should say, we are going to let Lions of Liberty Forum members, our Facebook group, if you're not on Facebook, I'll figure out a way you can vote too. Don't worry, I'm not going to shut people out that don't like Facebook, but we're going to have the listeners of this program vote on these teams eventually. So, and the way we're going to judge this on what team is going to best promote liberty. So if you think someone will best promote liberty, you can draft that person as long as they're not someone we decided is totally unrealistic, like Rand Paul or Ron Paul. But so you can draft people that aren't libertarians if you want, but then that might be weighed against you later. Like I could draft Cenk Unger of the Young Turks if I wanted to, but why would I draft a democratic socialist on my team? That wouldn't make any sense. So I don't think that would actually help me. But in theory, you can. So if you think Adam Carolla is liberty enough for you, I think it's a acceptable pick.
Heck, he could run for president under a Libertarian Party. He's more libertarian than Gary Johnson.
I like now that Donald Trump's president, like everybody is
Who
like
can't
a
be?
believable president now. Like literally everyone's like, well, I can see it. I mean, Kanye West, sure, why not? I mean, Donald did it, so sure.
By the way, do you like how Kanye West was put in a quote unquote LA hospital because he was having some dramatic breakdown after he endorsed Trump on stage? As a publicist, I can tell you that is like Mel Gibson going to quote unquote rehab after he went on rants against the Jews. It's all bullshit.
Yeah, there's a conspiracy going on there. I think like what's up with like I'm not saying Alex Jonesy stuff, but I did see Alex Jones, as he says before he mentions an Alex Jones headline. It was something like Kanye West kidnapped for supporting Trump.
Yeah,
which is just the best headline ever.
it was basically his publicist driving to his house and going, "What did you do? Get in the car."
See, now someone's going to draft Kanye West. You have unleashed monsters here right now.
Can I trade my Corolla pick for Kanye
no, you
West
can trade
right now?
Matt Stone and your second round pick, as you should have had to in the first.
We might do trades. We'll see. Maybe later.
We may allow trades. We may allow post-show trades. All right, so Rico going very unconventional with Trey Parker and Matt Stone and Adam Carolla. Now, keep in mind, these people are going to be representing the ideas of liberty, so we all need to think about how they're going to best do that. But visibility and things like that are absolutely a factor. So Rico is leaning more towards, I think, the visibility, mainstream media, capturing factor, as Brian also did with his first pick, while myself and Odie have kind of veered more towards people who are more established in the libertarian community, or a rising star, I guess, in the case of future NFL Hall of Famer Larry Sharp. Oh God, I hope we're not the only ones to find the running joke of Larry Sharp playing football funny for some reason. I have no idea why it is. So
There has to be at least one other person.
there's got to be at least one of you guys, right? Someone make a meme about it, please. We're gonna spread this thing.
Please do.
We're gonna get him. If we don't get him a presidential nomination, gosh darn it, we're gonna get him a NFL Hall of Fame gold jacket. All right. Moving along. We're way past time for because Rico used 2 picks. That's fine. So you're on the clock, Odie. I've already given up on the clock. By the way,
I'll make this one quick. There's not a whole lot to say about it. I think it's a shoo-in. Should have been picked earlier, in my opinion. I can't believe he dropped to me. I'm going with Jason Stapleton of the Jason Stapleton program, the biggest libertarian podcast in the world, right behind Lines of Liberty. Well, that's not true. He's you love him, you hate him. He's a great guy. He's great at communicating the message of liberty. Great at taking everyday occurrences all across the globe, breaking down the financial details behind it, and saying what's going on. He's really just the leading voice for liberty, and I could put him in any slot on my team. So that's why I picked him.
Any slot, Odie?
Any slot, Odie.
Well, if he gets a sex change,
there's a running Odie theme today.
Clearly, Stapleton's going to be holding the position of boner giver in chief on Odie's squad.
I thought you were talking about me putting him in the slot for a mainstream woman media person.
No, I meant you're a specific slot.
We're gonna downgrade him to a YouTube star. Not that that's a downgrade. It's not.
Well, he already is kind of a YouTube. Doesn't he have? He has a YouTube channel.
You're right. He already counts. That's a good point. He's got podcasts. You got YouTube. You could have him run for president. You could put him on a mainstream talk show easily. You're right, and that's a very versatile pick. I think Tom Woods is versatile in the same way. That's kind of what I was thinking, but I was really debating between Tom and Jason there. I mean, it's a real tough one.
Well, now you're on the clock, so we get to see what
you're on the clock, Mark.
You're right. I was trying to bide some time there. All right. So with this pick, I could have gone a few different ways, but as I said, I already went hardcore libertarian, and I got to say the draft is influencing me a little bit. I'm getting a little nervous. I'm seeing a lot of celebrity going a lot further, or a lot sooner, I guess, than I thought it might. So I'm going to pick a celebrity of my own, someone that I was thinking of as a later round pick, but you guys are making me nervous. So I'm going to go ahead and take him now before someone else does. I'm going to draft Vince Vaughn.
I knew it.
He was on my board.
Yeah, I know. That's why I just drafted him.
It's on your board.
Wow. That just blew my mind.
We're not even going for celebrities. I was going to take him in the
5th round.
We're going for celebrities. All right, so the clock has been
all
started.
playing catch up.
And now I got to think hard. I think with Vince Vaughn off the board, my sleeper is safe. So I
think I have an idea of yours is. I'm going to note it in my mind, and then I will truthfully tell you if I was right or wrong.
All right. You can call it when I say it. All right. I'm going to take the venerable Scott Horton with my pick.
Ooh, Scott Horton. All right. That's a good
one. I love me some Scott Horton, man. Breaking down those foreign policy issues, knows his libertarianism in and out, has a good listening audience, very good at talking about the ideals of liberty and their consequences should they be infringed upon.
All right. And you actually... Team Trumpelstiltskins, you get 2 picks here. This is the snake draft, so I'm going to restart your clock. You can take a little time if you want. What do you guys think of the Scott Horton pick? Were you expecting him that early?
I think it's a great pick. I had totally forgotten about Scott Horton as filling any of the roles on this team.
And Scott Horton sits at home with a tear in his eye as he hears it. Totally forgot about
I'm sorry, Scott. You're a great guy, but I just wasn't thinking of you. I should have been. I wasn't scouting. I wasn't out there doing my due diligence and scouting the liberty movement properly. Otherwise, you would have been in the top 5 on my board.
Well, tough tots, man. He's off. All right, next pick. I've got. I'm going to take her. I'm going to take Kennedy.
Oh, I knew it. That's not your sleeper, though. But I knew
that's not my sleeper pick. No, Kennedy's not my sleeper pick. But I know she's going to go, so I got to take her off the board before it gets back around. It's a lot of picks before it comes back around to me. And as you know, Kennedy, since I learned of all of her libertarian values, much more attractive to me.
That will happen.
Much more. I don't know what happened there, but when she's on the Fox News and she's giving it to the man, and you can see on election night, by the way, she was getting really pissed off about something. I was watching some of the coverage, and something came up about Gary Johnson, and you can see her getting all pissed off.
Oh yeah, she does not hide her current disdain for how the Johnson-Weld campaign went. She is fantastic, going very Fox Newsy. 2 out of 3 Fox Business hosts in the first.
I know. Well, hell, man.
Fox but you mixed in an anarchist, anti-war guy, so it's a good mix.
Exactly.
All right, this is interesting here because, well, I was going to I was actually considering Kennedy here because I really thought it was amazing. Nobody's taken a female yet. But now I don't feel, now that you've broken the glass ceiling for the females, I don't I don't feel as much pressure to take one right now. I've got a few good ones in my back pocket. I'm confident that I'll get a nice lady or two on my team by the end of this thing. So I'm going to go ahead and take someone who is often controversial. I don't always agree with them, but I think in the last year he has really shown that he can accomplish a lot. He can get a lot of attention. He can get a lot of people talking, and he has a lot of versatility, and that is Mr. Austin Peterson.
Oh, okay. I almost took him with my Kennedy pick, but I actually figured he would stick around a little longer because I think people were like afraid of him being too smug to draft.
Well, if anyone heard our Thanksgiving Day special with the Johnny Rocket Launchpad, we heard a little story about what Gary Johnson really thinks about Austin Peterson.
which is the greatest endorsement I think you can get, right?
Teaser.
Just considering how much Gary Johnson sucks.
Don't give it away. Just tease them. All right, yeah, you can go back and listen to our Thanksgiving special to find out just what that story was, and it's a laugher. It's a knee slapper, I gotta say. Now, where were we here? Make Liberty Great Again. You are on the clock. You still got a little bit of time here, so feel free to do some yoga and do some meditating if you like.
I've been meditating this entire podcast, so I think I'm ready to make my pick. It might be a surprising pick, but based on some of the people off the board already, I don't think it's going to surprise any of you guys. I am going to go with another wrestler. That's right. Another Vince McMahon employee, Mr. Glenn Kane Jacobs.
Oh, robbing the wrestling fanatics of their picks.
Oh, that is a good one.
That's what you get, Rico. That's what you get for taking two people in the first round.
Oh, well, Glenn Jacobs was going next. I was already on the phone with his agent. He's very disappointed to be going to Make Liberty Great Again.
Well, Rico, you can make a trade.
TBD. He grew up in TBD, I heard.
That's true. Trades can happen between when we review this the next time. We can make trades, right?
Yeah, I think
we can
next
make trades.
episode, definitely.
Oh boy, I'm scared. It's already been anarchy if we throw trade.
But here's a question. Hold on. Can you make a trade? Can you trade two people for one and then pick up a free agent off the wire?
I'm gonna say no because we haven't. There's no free agent pool. This is a draft, so you can make trades, but I think they got to be even. Or you got to no, you can't have one less. You have to fulfill every position. So trades allowable, but they're gonna have to be on a 1-for-1 basis.
All right.
Don't worry, my picks aren't going anywhere.
And you guys already won on the two guys with one pick thing, so I gotta put my foot down somewhere.
I already have more people than anyone. I'm winner.
Yeah, well, that doesn't seem fair. Only Rico can do 2-for-1s. That's the rule, and he has to trade at least one of them with the pick. All right, you got one, Rico. You still got a little bit of time. You got about a minute left if you need to think.
You guys keep chit chatting. My two, actually, the last 3 picks were all in my queue.
So, he's stumped now. You have like this Yahoo queue.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to go with a former vice presidential candidate. I think he did a hell of a job. Well, you got it. I think he did a good job this year, and I think his experience can only make him a little bit better going forward. I'm going to take Judd Weiss.
All right.
Oh, wow.
Judd Weiss going in the 3rd round, and what's great about it is Judd can photograph everything you're doing. You know.
Oh, no, I don't want him doing that.
I'm 90% sure that Rico took Judd Weiss because he's always taking photos of hot chicks.
I think that's likely a factor.
And he probably has parties at his hot chick mansion.
Yeah, and you'd probably go to all those parties, Rico. So
I'm sure I'm on the Evite list now.
This is a smart pick for many social reasons, but no, that's actually a very interesting one. You got to factor a lot of things in with Judd. He's a youngish guy. He appeals to a younger audience. He made those videos with John McAfee. He's somebody that can really appeal to the millennial-ish generation, I guess you could say. And he's also very intelligent and knows a lot about libertarianism and can really explain the ideas really well, as I know from having him as a guest on the show. So very interesting pick, very sneaky pick, and a very good pick. And with that, we are halfway through this draft, so we're going to take a quick break to get a little word from our sponsors. Maybe we'll grab another drink, and we'll be right back.
Hey guys, this is Roger Paxton, and if you're fed up with the government running every single aspect of your life, but you're not listening to the Lava Flow podcast yet, then what's wrong with you? Check us out at thelavaflow.com, or just go back to sucking up to the government. The Lava Flow podcast, striking the root every single episode.
This is Chris Spangle, and I am the host of We Are Libertarians, which you can find in iTunes, Google Play, or at wearelibertarians.com. We are a podcast that brings you all of the irreverence that modern politics deserves by examining current events from a libertarian perspective. So please, check us out at wearelibertarians.com.
Hey everyone, the Johnny Rocket Launchpad is Liberty. Each week we strive to bring you the best guests in talk radio. The Johnny Rocket Launchpad delivers weekly interviews of noteworthy politicians, experts, and activists. The Johnny Rocket Launchpad is bringing the party to the Libertarian Party and launching ideas in your direction. Check us out at johnnyrocketlaunchpad.com, and you can hear me, Kurt Nelson, and the beautiful Heather Nixon talk about the ideas of liberty, rock and roll.
All right, we are back with the 2020 Liberty Draft. And if you are just tuning in, well, that's weird because this is a podcast. So why would you start halfway through? Or you might be listening on LRN.FM, in which case I'll briefly explain to you that we are crafting a Liberty propaganda team for the year 2020. And we're filling several positions, a presidential candidate, a vice presidential candidate, a podcast host, a mainstream media male host, a mainstream media female host, and a YouTube star. And we're going to build basically our own Liberty propaganda teams. And then the listeners out there are going to decide who did the best job at the end of it. I'm just going to briefly recap this draft up to this point so everyone has kind of a picture in their mind of who's on what team. So we've got Brian McWilliams with the Trumpelstiltskins. He has drafted John Stossel in the first round, Scott Horton in the second round, and Kennedy in the third round. We then have my team, Liberty S. Pumpkins. I drafted Tom Woods with my first pick, went Celebrity with Vince Vaughn with my second pick, and drafted the versatile Austin Peterson with my third pick. John Odermatt with Make Liberty Great Again. He went with Larry Sharp, a exciting reach for the first pick. And then Jason Stapleton in the second round, and crush the hopes of myself and Rico by taking Glenn Jacobs with his third round pick, WWE wrestler Kane and staunch libertarian. We then have TBD, our good friend Rico. He somehow cajoled these rules in the first round and convinced everyone that he should be allowed to take two people with one pick. So he got Trey Parker and Matt Stone, along with Adam Carolla going mega celebrity. And then he veered over to a celebritarian in Judd Weiss. So it's still all about the celebrity and the star power for you, isn't it, Rico?
That's what I do. I make big waves and make everyone love me. I don't know. Something like
that is going to be a meme if anyone knew what your picture was. Or who
I
you
make
really
big
were.
waves and make everybody love me.
Oh, well.
I hope you're wearing your I'm Crabby in Maryland shirt from Preakness 2000.
I lost that somewhere in one of the many, many late night clubs we were at.
That's too bad.
We should probably move along before this becomes a legal conversation. Now, it just so happens, Rico, you made the last pick in the third round of Judd Weiss, and this being a snake draft, you're up next. You are on the clock in round 4.
Alrighty. So this person is a former economic advisor to the great Ron Paul. He hasn't been talked about quite as much lately as he used to be, but still around, still a big name, and I see big things for him in the future for why not. I'm going with Peter Schiff.
Oh, Peter Schiff. All right. A guy
Step
who's
it
been
up.
a little off the radar lately. That was kind of a sneaky pick there too, huh?
Wait, did I already type that in?
We might have done it at the same time.
Okay.
Behind the scenes action, folks. Learn all about shared documents here today. The Lions Liberty podcast. All right. Up next, we got Make Liberty Great Again. What do you guys think of Peter Schiff while Odie gets some of his last thoughts in these final seconds here?
I think it's a solid pick. Yeah, that's good. I mean, granted, you're going to lose the anybody that doesn't think that we can go back to the gold standard, I think, is going to be pissed off. But
who's
that's
that? Oh, all of America.
Hooligans. Hooligans and naysayers.
Yeah, I think it's a good pick. I mean, he has a lot of experience on mainstream television. He can really articulate a lot of ideas about the economy, and especially if, like a lot of people are saying, we see a bit of a crash sometime in the next 4 years. Maybe that would be a good guy to have out there kind of explaining some of the reasons why. So, interesting pick. Odie, Make Liberty Great Again. What do you think?
I am ready. I'm ready for my pick. And this pick might, I'm not going to lie, Mark, this might be a pick that I have a feeling that you had this lady on your board coming up.
Uh-oh.
She was a recent guest on your podcast, semi-recent, I guess. That's right. I'm going with 2016 U.S. Senate Libertarian nominee from Colorado, Lily Tang Williams.
Ooh, all right. That's
Good
a good
old Lily
one.
Tang.
Yeah, fantastic. Of course, the amazing story. And Mark, what episode was that again? Do you know off the top of your head?
I used to know all these off the top of my head.
We'll
I'll
put
tell-
that
I'll
in the
tell
show
you-
notes.
Yeah, it'll be in the show notes.
Or Mark can look it up and we'll come back to it. But Lily
One of
Tang
those.
has a incredible story from immigrating from China.
Episode 221. Boom.
There you go.
This should be its
Episode
own game show. How
221.
fast can I figure out an episode number?
So check that out. An inspiring person. And I do have a spot in mind that I want to put her on my team that I think is gonna be pretty awesome. I'm excited about it.
Interesting. I could easily see her, in as a presidential or vice presidential candidate, to be honest, because she's really got an interesting story, and I think one that can really capture people. At the same time, you could see her really in any role conceivably, because it's she's such a unique person that there's a lot of interesting stuff you could do here with Lily Tang Williams. So interesting pick for sure. What
Well,
do
you know
guys
she'd
think?
draw the astronaut vote, which is a key demographic for libertarians to reach.
I don't even get that joke, and I'm pretty sure it's racist. So I'm not interested.
Tang!
Oh, okay. It still sounds racist to me, but do astronauts drink Tang?
Yeah, NASA invented Tang. And
Is that true? So
Yeah,
the government
it is.
did do something.
You are really reaching for that joke, man.
that is not a reach. That is a great joke. Please write in after you hear this episode telling these idiots that was a wonderful joke. And NASA, I'll expect sponsorship dollars any day now.
We will post a poll in the forum after this episode airs about whether or not that was a good joke.
Yes, please do.
The
Exactly.
people will
that.
speak. We should also, I wish this was a live show. I could have had them vote on your stupid, I get to 2 people with 1 pick rule. Because I guarantee Reason would have ruled the day.
They're a
Would have been shot
team.
down.
God, how many times do I have to explain
Do
this?
they even live together? I saw
Probably.
I
don't
one
know.
of them at dinner once, but I don't know which one because I don't know
I
which
was
is
with
which.
you. We
The
saw
other one was
Matt
probably-
Stone.
Yeah, he didn't
I
have
think.
Trey with him. What did he?
No,
He-
unless
oh.
Trey was in a disguise or
team.
somewhere else in the restaurant.
Some team. Please. Anyway.
Neither of us said hello to him, by the way, but I did awkwardly walk by and half make eye contact before I scurried forward out of his line of sight.
Well, maybe you can woo him off of Rico's team
All
with your sword.
right, Mark, you're on the clock, man.
I am on the clock. I still got 47 seconds left, but I'm not going to use them because I know it's time, finally. It's time to get a woman on my team. It's time to get someone on my team who can really reach out to people and knows how to talk to the younger generation, could be used in multiple possible roles, although she's best known for one of them right now, and that is a role I need to fill, but we'll see how things play out. I'm going to draft Miss Julie Borowski.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's right.
I think we all expected that one.
Not enough to take her yourselves, though. I win. What do you guys think? I don't want to compliment my own pick. That's weird, but
Yeah, she's great, man. Hey, she's one of the most prominent libertarian voices, especially for women. There's always that conversation: why are there not more libertarian women? She is one of them. She's one of the prominent voices converting more women towards libertarianism, in addition to the general lay folk. So yeah, she's a great pick.
all right. Well, that's one compliment. I'll take that. And move
Another
on.
one in the queue for me. Gone.
Well, let's see if I doubt
Rico's
anybody.
currently Googling libertarian women right now.
I literally am.
Well, there's one obvious pick for that. I won't say it, but
There's one obvious pick, I think.
yeah,
I'm guessing
very-
that's Brian's next pick. No?
Very obvious pick. No, I'm going another way. I don't think anybody. Well, maybe you have this person on your boards, but very, very well-known libertarian, clearly in a position of power as far as libertarian mouthpiece. I'm going to go with Nick Gillespie, editor of Reason magazine.
All right. All
But
right.
don't read the comment section there because none of them think he's a libertarian.
Hey, you know what? You have to be. I almost went with Matt Welsh, to be honest. But I'm going with Nick because as the editor of Reason, he's got a lot more clout as far as the general populace is concerned. And I think that he's got more respect in the general media. So I'm going to go with Nick here.
Why not pick both? Huh?
Yeah,
Just
there
take
we go.
them both,
There,
right?
Pete. I'm taking them both. I'm taking
Reason.
Matt Welsh and Nick Gillespie. Add it in there.
Wait, I've
No,
got a
just take
question.
Reason.
Though. I've got a question. So if you can take Trent Parker and Matt Stone, can you take Gary Johnson and Bill Weld?
I say yes.
Go for it.
Why would you want to? But I say
didn't
yes.
say if you would want to. I just want to clarify the rules because you never know. I might feel crazy in round 6. All right, so moving on. It is round 5, and this being a snake draft, Brian, you get to go again, and be careful because you only got one more pick after this.
I know I do. I'm really having a toss up here. I'm toss up between a great pick, like a really legitimate, makes sense pick for like a VP position, perhaps, and a guy that would also be good that I love, friend of our podcast, that also has some experience in government. Oh man. For the sake of the public vote, I'm going to sell out my morals. Not my morals, but I'm going to sell out my pick I was going to go with. I'm going to go with Roger Paxton of the Lava Flow podcast.
Roger, why is that selling out your morals?
No, not really. Because I was going to.
I'm sure he's complimented and befuddled at the same time. Like, thank you for your vote of confidence, but why does choosing me?
I was going to go with somebody that has a lot more like actual legit government experience. Although Roger Paxton is involved with, I think he was just out there talking about how New Hampshire should secede, and he obviously was part of decrying Gary Johnson along with Darrell W. Perry. So
I'm interested
does anybody who's been drafted so far have legit government experience? I don't think so.
Well, Roger Paxton does now, right? Well, not government, but he's a part of the party.
He's run for office.
Yeah, he's run for office. So he's got some.
And okay, so you have an interesting. I'm looking forward to watching Nick Gillespie. I had Roger on my board as well, by the way. So to be clear, yeah, Nick. I'm interested to see how Nick and Roger get along. I can see that being a little contentious, but you've got Scott Horton and Roger, two hardcore anarchists right there, and then you've got your more sort of bourgeoisie libertarian with Nick Gillespie in the mix, and your celebritarians or your celebrities with the Stossel and Kennedy. So it's certainly an interesting mix you've got going here on the Trumpelstiltskins. He's got one pick left. We'll have to wait to the end of the draft for that one.
Brian has a feisty team. I mean, looking at the names on there,
you can't deny that. I'll give that to pretty
except
much.
for John Stossel. I guess John Stossel will be the one to bring everyone
He's
down.
feisty in his own way.
He's the normalizer.
Yeah.
He's feisty for mainstream media, but compared to this crew, he's actually pretty chill.
Well, if the rumor that I made up about him getting punched in the face is true, then he's also feisty.
And the unsubstantiated rumor, it was Roger Paxton who punched him.
old moral compromising Roger over there. And be sure to check out the Lava Flow podcast. All right. All right, moving along. I am pretty surprised this guy is not gone yet. It might be some overlap depending on how you look at things, but I think he's too valuable of a voice to right now, let alone what I think he'll be 4 years from now, to allow to pass any further. So I'm going to go ahead and draft part of the problem host, Dave Smith.
Oh, I thought you were going to go with the different guy there. All right.
No, I didn't. So there.
I was going to yell as soon as you drafted the guy I thought you were going to draft. I was going to yell that you're an establishment shill, libertarian establishment shill.
Bill Weld.
Bill Weld? You think I was going to take Weld?
He's not part of the libertarian establishment.
I think I've already made clear if I choose to take Bill Weld, it's going to be in tandem with Gary Johnson. So
I think I suspect, I smell that Odie's going to take him. I'm waiting. Go ahead, Odie. I know it's coming.
You smell who I'm going to take?
I know someone's going to take him.
I don't think who I'm going to draft would really, like that comment. That's not
Odie
nice
needs to take his time because I have no idea who I'm going to take next now. or we're just going to have to stop the podcast and restart it while I do some more research.
Odie's on the clock,
He's literally Googling libertarian women right now.
We can chat about we can chat about the Dave Smith pick a little bit if you guys like. I don't want to chat about my own pick. Odie, what are your thoughts on
Sure. Well, hey, we can always add. We talked about doing an 8-round draft and having 2 bench spots. I'm open with it. I got the depth on my draft board, guys.
There's no way Rico is lasting 2 more rounds. I'm not even sure he's going to last the next 2 rounds.
You know what?
Let alone
Rico,
2 more. So here's an idea. We'll talk about it afterwards.
Split up his first team pick and make an extra pick out of it. There you go.
We'll talk about it afterwards. Maybe we'll have a supplemental draft at the beginning of the next show. Maybe we'll do that. We'll keep that in the mix.
I'm ready with my pick, and I'm 100% sure it's not the pick that Brian thinks it's going to be, I think.
All right. Are you going to compromise your morals to take it?
She is a apprentice of Ben Swan. Got her start, I believe, writing for his whatever his website's called.
Truth and Media. It was benswan.com and then truthandmedia.com.
Truth and Media. And now she works for capitalism.com or .org, one of the two. Google it, you'll figure it out. Kristen Tate. Yes, she's got videos all over the internet. I could put her in a couple different spots on my team. She could be, you could see her maybe ending up in the mainstream media. I know she's been on Fox News a little bit. You could see her having her own YouTube show, her own podcast. Very versatile pick.
Absolutely.
And she has not yet been on the Lions of Liberty podcast, though, although she's been invited, I hear.
So is Nick Gillespie, but he hasn't come on either, that douche
I may have emailed her a couple years ago before we were, a big thing. So maybe I'll try her again.
Yeah,
well, she's on my team now, so she pretty much has to come on.
Well, now I've got to email people and ask them to be guests and say, you were recently drafted on the Liberty draft. And they're going to be like, what the fuck's the Liberty draft?
They'll be like,
don't
what
worry
round
about
did
it. But
go in? And you'll be like, sixth. And they'll be like, fuck off.
I've had a good number of these people on, I'd say. Almost half. Something like that.
Well, I almost drafted somebody you recently had on with my last pick, but then I went with Roger Paxton instead.
And just compromise your morals away forever.
Compromise my morals for Roger.
All right, TBD, how we doing over there? Have we bought you enough time? You don't have to make your female pick yet. You can.
Yes, I'm still working on that one. But Odie actually jogged my mind. So thank you, Odie.
That's what I do. I jog minds.
Making minds great again.
I'm taking Ben Swan. Thank you.
Oh, Ben Swan. All right.
I had thought of him before, and then I don't know. I didn't write him down.
Now it's a snake draft, though, so Rico has another pick.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Talk about Ben Swan for a while.
All right. Oh, man, that is actually honestly a great pick. That's a late sleeper that I think fell off a lot of people's radars. So I think that's a really interesting one. He's a guy who's, again, pretty versatile. You could almost see him in any role because he's got such a mainstream kind of look, mainstream appeal. So, I mean, he'd be perfect in the role he's in now. He's already on TV locally, so you could definitely see him on cable news or something like that. At the same time, he could probably fill a lot of other roles too because he's so well spoken. So definitely a good pick. What do you guys think?
I like him. I like him a lot.
That kid's
I mean, I have honestly haven't seen that many videos from him recently. I don't know if that's just because
he's got a full-time
up
gig
in my
now
Facebook
too,
feed, but he does have the full-time gig.
But he does a good job. Just like I talk about Stapleton, he does a really good job of capturing things that are going on every day to kind of capitalize and talk about the libertarian aspects of them and how the system's breaking down, how government's letting us down. So he does an excellent job communicating something in a way that the average person can relate to.
And like John Stossel, he has the respect of the mainstream media. He's been employed by several local TV stations, and they keep letting him come back on. So that's a good thing.
Yeah,
they keep letting him go.
Better than stoning him or throwing broken beer bottles, peeing on his car when he gets
high praise from Odie.
And at this point, I'm still seeing a lot of really interesting potential names on this board. So I think we might be interested in a supplemental draft if we don't do it.
Got
right
it, man.
Now.
Let's add another round. Let's add it on.
Just like that, a seventh. It'll be like a utility pick that you could use as anything, basically.
I like it. Yeah.
There you go.
Can Rico handle one more round?
You guys are really going to have to kill
his first pick in two if he can't think of anybody.
All right, well, at least you'll have 8 picks between the next two.
Oh, okay.
Rico, you have the option to spread your first round pick down one.
All right, so to be clear, we're officially adding a round because screw rules anyway. We've already been drafting 2 people from the get-go.
JB didn't show up to moderate this bastard, so that's on him.
This is what happens.
The NFL draft should be like this. If some team is like, fuck, I meant to draft that guy, they should just add a round on.
All right,
Roger Goodell's not up there. Some team just runs up to the podium like, I'm drafting now.
All right, so do you have your 6th round pick then? You figured it out?
I do, kind of. And I'm going to, this is could be.
Kind of, God, you got me worried.
This is half in jest, so I'm just going to say the name and wait for you to not fall out of your chair.
Oh, God.
This woman has been described as a libertarian-leaning liberal.
Are you reading your Wikipedia right now? You're definitely reading Wikipedia, but go on.
Is this Nikki Haley or not Nikki Haley? Go ahead.
She's very, very prominent in many TV, magazines, all media.
We'll link to her IMDb page. Go on.
Everyone in the world has heard of her. Caitlyn Jenner.
Oh, my gosh.
Rico did mention earlier on asking if it had to have always been a woman that you drafted. So,
and this is you can draft this person, but I have to make a ruling, I think, here, because are you joking or is this real?
I'm only joking. I don't think she's a very good libertarian.
Okay. And she also, because I would have to rule that she's not a woman because she has not changed her. We're going to get an uproar in the transgender community. He's still got all the stuff. If he had changed it, I would be able to concede it. But all he does is dress up in women's clothes.
Oh.
Well, he's still into women. That's
it's weird.
He likes dressing up as a woman.
He's against gay marriage. He's like the weirdest guy ever. He's like, he said he's more of a traditionalist on marriage while sitting there in a dress. He's like the weirdest thing.
I also she endorsed Ted Cruz, so that's not much of a libertarian. But
hey, so did Remzo Martinez. We hear. I know you're out there, Remzo. Still on my draft board. All right.
That's why no one's drafting him.
Remzo, I was going to pick you until I heard this Ted Cruz news.
My real female.
That was a good fake pick. I was only horrified because I thought you were serious.
It's not a punt when I say the real female pick. Is more obscure, and I've been digging deep for this one. I don't think you'll recognize the name. Liz Wall, a former Russia TV host. She was famous for
I've heard of her.
Resigning on the air.
Oh, yeah.
Saying she was being used as a propaganda puppet. I don't know what she's doing now, but she's due to be doing something soon because she's super hot and
in the Rico cabinet, she'll have many roles. I'm sure, many positions. She'll have many positions.
Going big on the celebrity.
She's not the news personality who resigned on air and then went to grow weed in Alaska, is she?
No, that's
her, right?
No, that's Amber Lyon. You're thinking.
Okay.
Oh no, that was somebody else. That was like some other woman that resigned on air. Yeah, no. That's somebody else altogether. There's a lot of women that have resigned, apparently.
Apparently, it's a thing to do.
I think Liz Wall actually retired on air to go and create meth in a lab in a garage.
Let's only hope.
Her stock keeps going up and up.
I'm going to put all this in the email when I ask her to be on the show. I hope the meth is going well. You were just drafted on the Liberty team. I hope none of this sounds weird.
I'm just saying, that's what these anchors do. They retire, then they go into the drug trade in one way or the other.
It was a tough call between her and Caitlyn Jenner, but I think she's more of a traditional journalist. So going that route.
So everyone's got at least one female right now. Odie's actually got two. So everyone's fulfilled their quota. Yes, and here in Libertarian world, we even have quotas. But you can have more than one female, like Odie does, and use them in different roles. So we'll see how that shakes out. But Odie, you are up back on the clock in the second to last round now. And we'll call that last position just a utility position. It's an extra person you can have sort of on your bench or to put into really any role. Obviously, you can't have two presidential candidates, but you can insert them into any other role you like, I would say.
Yes. So my next pick here, I wasn't going to pick him, but with adding the last round, I'm going to pick him now because I'm not sure if he'll make it back to me.
Change the whole scope of the draft this added round.
One of you guys might swoop him up. Obviously, everyone knows this guy. He's known as the Night Watchman. He's one of Austin Peterson's mentors. Worked for him on Freedom Watch on Fox News. None other than Judge Andrew Napolitano.
Great pick. Damn it.
That's a amazing sleeper in round 6, I gotta say.
Yeah, that really is.
I was about to take him.
Another guy I forgot to
I would have dumped Nick Gillespie and Roger Paxton right in the gutter.
Very arguably, and it cut to the shot of Judge Andrew Napolitano. We've been cutting the shots of him between every round. He's been shocked that he hasn't been drafted.
He's the Aaron Rodgers of this damn draft.
He's the Aaron Rodgers of this draft. He's a shoo-in first or second round pick. He's fallen all the way to the 6th round.
He was sitting in a room with John Stossel, Tom Woods, and Jason Stapleton, and they all left.
God damn it.
Sitting there by himself.
Our analysts estimate he's lost at least $2 million in income from falling this far.
God, no. 6th round. Unbelievable.
But that really is a great pick. And I think that's another one where he can just fulfill literally any role on your board, except for maybe female mainstream star. But again, you never know.
You never know.
Now I'm visualizing Judge Napolitano in drag, so we should probably move on to my pick.
Hey, well, Rudy Giuliani wore drag, so, it happens.
There you go, man. We've got to. I have to link that video of Rudy Giuliani and Donald Trump in drag. It's a real video. It exists in real life. It's incredible. Look for that in the show notes of this program. lionsofliberty.com/269. Anyway, moving along. I think that last round does actually change the draft a little bit because it influences what I'm going to do here. It gives me a little more leeway, a little more flexibility. So I'm going to try to think outside the box. Maybe not that outside, but I think this is a very strong pick. He's a guy who's coming up in a few different realms. I could see him really using him in many different ways, potentially. He's a guy who's got his foot in the music industry, and I think he's really, really coming up out there. And that's a gentleman who's been on this program by the name of Eric July. Booyah.
I was actually
he's good.
Next.
I like Eric July, except for the fact that he's a Dallas Cowboys fan, which is sad.
That's troubling, but everyone's got one flaw, you know?
That's a solid
one.
pick, but it looks like, Mark, it looks like you might have two YouTube celebrities on your roster there vying for the role. I don't know. It's a tough choice.
Thanks to this utility pick that we added, I got a little flexibility. See how this changes the draft?
Indeed, it does.
Because that was actually why
Mark's team's looking strong right now. I took some gambles here. It might not pay off for me. I don't know.
At the same time, maybe Eric July can run for president. Why not? You can. That's what's cool about this. You can have some fun with this thing, and we'll be judged at some point by our listeners. But
there you go.
Moving along to this is actually going to be your final two picks, round 6 and 7. Snaky. So what do you got for us, Trumpelstiltskins?
So for my round 6 pick, I'm going to go with the guy that another recent podcast guest, guy with impeccable credentials. He's touched the man we all revere many, many times. Of course, that being Congressman Ron Paul. I'm not saying he touched him inappropriately. He touched him appropriately, probably shaking hands, hugging, maybe patting him on the back. He is the current president of the Mises Institute, former chief of staff to Congressman Ron Paul. How about Jeff Deist?
It's pronounced Deist, but still an interesting pick, nonetheless.
I can't remember how to spell his name, but Jeff Deist, yes, I think he would be great. Let me think of this guy in like a VP role. And he's a good-looking dude too.
Jeff Deist, if you're listening,
that's important.
You've got a fan.
He can be on television. Yeah.
All right, yeah.
I'm telling you, he'd be awesome. He's a man that knows policy. He knows how to handle the public. He knows how to deal with all the legal mumbo jumbo of being in office. He could probably put some bills together. Smack damn.
All right. Yeah. It's a really interesting balance you've got going on. It's like half mainstreamy and half like more hardcore in depth in the liberty movement.
Exactly. Well, hopefully the people will appreciate that.
Hopefully not.
So my last pick, super sleeper. I don't think anybody would have seen this coming. Mark, you can tell me if you guessed this correctly because you were bragging.
I have a prediction, so we'll see.
All right. I'm taking with my final pick one of the most famous actors on the planet.
Oh, I'm definitely going to be right.
Of my favorite film.
Can I say it to prove that I'm right? Sure. I think, and maybe I'll be wrong, but I don't think so. Especially now that you've set it up. I know I'm right. Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell is right.
Oh, man.
Star of Big Trouble in Little China. Because you know what old Jack Burton says when he tried to infringe on his liberties? He says, hey, the check is in the mail.
I now like to reference... I need to reference draft rule 3.002. It says that if you allow someone else to announce their draft pick, they get the draft pick. So,
nope, absolutely not.
Yeah, no, that's a real rule. I'll email it to you. I got a PDF. That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one.
And I'm going to proudly wear it. When I'm crowned king of this draft by the voting populace, I'm going to take a selfie of myself in his wonderful Japanese shirt with a knife in my mouth. It's going to be tits.
All right. It's going to be tits, he says. Moving along to me. This is my final draft pick for Team Liberty S Pumpkins. We're just here to make liberty out of you. Oh man, this is a tough one because I could probably do 3 more rounds, guys, but no, we don't want to do that. There's a lot of people I want to pick here. I gotta say, there's a lot of friends of the show I want to pick. So I don't want to offend anybody, but I'm sorry I can't draft all of you. But I'm going to try to round out my team a little bit, and I'm going to select Avens O'Brien, libertarian writer and person and all sorts of things. She's been involved in politics.
She is a person. Yeah,
she is a person. She's been involved in libertarian politics.
She is a living human female.
She's been involved in libertarian politics for over a decade, way over a decade, really, her entire life. And I can also use her due to some of their sordid past to maybe tempt Judd and try to influence him on Rico's team. So that's part of my draft pick too.
Not a bad pick. I will say I saw her at Freedom Fest, I think it was in LA here. Did not remember me in any way.
Well,
remember you from what? Had you met before?
We did. She was on the Lines of Liberty podcast with us.
She was blackout drunk then. She doesn't remember any of that. She doesn't even know she's been on the show before, even though I've interviewed her twice. No, I'm just blacked out every time. But yeah, I think she can fulfill a lot of potential roles, and she can always speak on the ideas of liberty, which is an important thing to me in pretty much all of my picks. That's what I'm aiming for, with the possible exception of Vince Vaughn. But I got to say, I think of the celebrities chosen, he's done the most outward libertarian stuff, endorsing Ron Paul, introducing him at different speaking events. So I think I give him as more of a pass than I give other celebrities who aren't.
Well, there is another celebrity that somebody could take right now if they wanted to, who's also quite prominent. I won't say his name, but maybe somebody wants to take him.
I'm through with these.
He did do a
celebrities,
fundraiser for
we'll see.
Gary Johnson. Just saying.
Well,
I
I'm
know
not
who you're
taking.
talking-
I'm not taking that celebrity.
I know who you're talking about. Rico's scratching his head because he wants.
Yeah,
to-
Rico's trying to
know.
figure it out. He's Googling Gary Johnson fundraiser celebrity right now.
He's from Cleveland, you dolt.
It's such an obvious one, but it's not your turn yet. Make liberty
Not your
great.
turn, Rico, and I won't be taking the chubby man from Cleveland.
Do it just to fuck him. Come on.
It would be funny.
No, I'm going with
priceless.
my sleeper pick. I wasn't sure if I was going to pick him or not, but just recently it came out that he was floating the idea of possibly running for governor in New York in 2018. Right now, has one of the biggest, one of the most listened to, downloaded podcasts in the world, and he is none other than Mr. James Altucher.
Now that is a sleeper pick. That is.
He's not known as a libertarian, but he does have many views that are sympathetic to libertarianism, and he has written some articles in the past proposing some wild things like eliminating the office of the presidency, abolishing it, just massively expanding the size of Congress, so you have so many congressmen that nothing can get done.
Yeah, he has some very interesting views that definitely line up with what libertarians think, only coming at them from totally different directions.
Yeah, he's a very, very interesting guy, and it was actually one of your previous guests, Mark, Michael Pickens, who posted the status that I saw, and he looked into his background, and obviously Michael's gonna back Larry Sharp if Larry Sharp does indeed, which I think he is, if he does decide to run for the governorship in New York under a Libertarian Party. But with that being said, James Altucher, you can put him in so many different roles. He does have some crazy hair. I don't know if he'll do well on TV, but he's definitely a versatile guy.
Stay tuned. You can use him in just about any role you want here. So interesting stuff. All right, and here we come full circle over to TBD. Will he take the man we just tried to cajole him into taking and stick with his celebrity worship, or will he go just surprise us all? Rico, TBD.
Oh, I'm going to surprise you. And I'm doing this pick strictly to piss you off. Full circle indeed.
If you take two people
all
again,
of
I'm
taking two people again.
Oh, God. So, that's the problem, guys. Once you establish this precedent, we can't fight it.
You know who I'm taking. A former vice presidential candidate for the Libertarian Party back in 1980. Billionaires. You got to have money to run some politics.
Oh, God.
I'm taking the Koch brothers.
Well, your team name is going to be officially changed to Team Coke because that's going to be their first.
Yeah, exactly. Let's do Coke.
It's going to attract a very interesting crowd, let me tell you.
He will have the most bankrolled team out there, though. That's for damn
the
sure.
hate mail can begin.
He can pick up any free agent he wants with that money.
All right, so we now have each drafted 7 people to our Liberty propaganda team for 2020, and we're going to return.
9.
What's that?
I drafted 9.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Some of us drafted 9, apparently, through some weird perversion of the rules. And they're more, they make more sense than Trey and Matt. At least they're related. Whatever. Have been seen together in public. Anyway. To recap, we are filling now 7 spots, the 7th being a utility. I vote that if you guys agree, we allow that utility spot to be assigned to any position other than POTUS or vice president candidate, because you can't have 2 of those. Everyone agree?
Sure.
Agreed. So,
Great. Yeah. Thank God we finally agree on one thing on this stupid show. Just to recap, we're filling these 6/7 roles. Thanks to that utility spot now, we're filling the role of Libertarian candidate in 2020 for president, Libertarian vice presidential candidate for president, a male mainstream media TV host, a female mainstream media TV host, a podcast host, and a YouTube star. So we've all drafted our teams. I'm going to do a quick recap and let you guys all digest this stuff, and we'll return probably in 2 weeks to wrap this thing up and explain the different roles that our teams we see our teams fulfilling, and debate them, and let you guys decide who's got the best Liberty team here. So just to recap, we have Brian McWilliams with the Trumpelstiltskins. He drafted John Stossel, Scott Horton, Kennedy, Nick Gillespie, Roger Paxton, Jeff Deist, and Kurt Russell. Quite an eclectic mix, I have to say. Next up, we've got my team, Liberty S. Pumpkins. I drafted Tom Woods, actor Vince Vaughn, Austin Peterson, good old AP, Julie Borowski, part of the problem host Dave Smith, Eric July of Backwards, and Avins O'Brien. Then we've got Odie with Make Liberty Great Again. He drafted Larry Sharp in the first round, Jason Stapleton, Glenn Jacobs, Lily Tang Williams, Kristen Tate, Judge Andrew Napolitano, big pick, and a sleeper, James Altucher. And then we have Rico with Team TBD. He drafted Trey Parker and Matt Stone, a controversial first-round pick, Adam Carolla, Judd Weiss, Peter Schiff, Ben Swan, journalist Liz Wall, and the Koch brothers. So there you have it, folks. Those are the 4 teams as they stand now. There might be some trades in between now and the next time we gather, probably 2 weeks from today. You'll be hearing part 2 of the Liberty draft. We'll do a supplemental draft, probably another round or 2, and then we will put everybody into their different positions and explain the roles of each of the members of our Liberty teams. So it should be an interesting time. Stay tuned. In the meantime, you guys can go over to the Lions of Liberty Forum. Just type Lions of Liberty Forum in your search bar on Facebook and join the conversation. It's a private group, but we will let you write in as long as you look like a real person. Maybe you can tell us who you would have drafted in rounds 1 through 7 as we did here today. What did you think of the picks? Did people reach too far? Do we not reach far enough? You can give us your analysis that way. You can, of course, tweet to us on Twitter at Lions of Liberty. Find us over on Facebook, our main page, facebook.com/Lions of Liberty. You can also just drop me an email, Mark, M-A-R-C, at lionsofliberty.com. This coming Friday, of course, we've got another episode of Felony Friday from my man Odie here. And then next Monday, we've got a member of Team Make Liberty Great Again. An interview with Jason Stapleton. This is one you guys are going to love. We do something really different. We don't really talk about libertarian philosophy or current events or anything like that. We kind of did a different kind of show, talking really more about personal development. And it's a subject I really wanted to talk with Jason about because it's a theme he hits on his show all the time. And I think it's stuff our listeners can really gain a lot of knowledge and insight from. So I'm really looking forward to airing that interview with Jason Stapleton this coming Monday. Until next time, folks. Live long and live free.